All right, let's dive into the world of paint today.
Sounds colorful.
It is, right? We're looking at Indigo Paints. They've been making some real waves in the Indian market. And
Yeah, they're definitely one to watch.
so we've got a whole bunch of stuff to go through today. We've got investor presentations. Those give us kind of the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the detailed financials, to really get into the nitty-gritty of how they're doing. And then we've even got some press releases.
Oh, nice. A little behind the scenes pick.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more of the story, right? Not just the numbers.
Right.
So we'll uncover how they're kind of bucking the industry trends. Like everybody knows the industry's got its ups and downs, but they seem to be doing well. They're expanding into new areas, and they're even, I like this, they're helping out their painter community
Oh, that's interesting.
with some cool initiatives. So get ready, because there's some surprising colors in this financial palette.
I like that. I like that. Well, let's start with these impressive numbers, right? Their revenue growth has been pretty eye-catching.
Yeah.
Both for the quarter and the half year. So we're looking at a standalone growth of 6.7% for Q2
Okay.
and a consolidated growth of 7.4%. Now, for the first half of the year, it's 6.4% standalone and 7.6% consolidated.
Okay, so I mean, those are some serious gains. Are they just riding a lucky streak here, or is there something more strategic going on?
I really think it's more than just luck at this point. They've been consistently beating the industry averages like for 6 quarters straight.
Really?
Yeah. So that to me says they're really actively grabbing market share. They're becoming a force in the market.
So they're not just painting houses; they're painting a picture of success.
Yes, I like that.
But what about, because revenue is one thing, but what about profitability? Are they keeping pace with this growth?
Well, that's where things get a little more nuanced.
Okay.
So while revenue is soaring, their profit after tax, the PAT, that actually experienced a bit of a contraction.
Oh.
Declined by 7.7% for the quarter.
Okay.
And 11.9% for the half year, and that's standalone.
So are they sacrificing profit for growth? Is that what's happening here?
Well, you have to keep in mind they are investing
Right.
heavily in their future, so think of it as a trade-off.
Okay.
Short term, the profitability dips a bit, but it's for that long-term growth potential.
So is that like, for example, the new plant in Tamil Nadu? I know that was a big thing that they were talking about.
Yeah. So that's going to contribute to depreciation costs, obviously.
Right.
But it also significantly expands their production capacity.
So they're getting ready.
Yeah.
For that bigger future that they're aiming for.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so it's like renovating, right? It's going to get messy before
Exactly.
it gets beautiful.
Yeah. Good analogy.
So besides the plant, what else is going on with this kind of profitability squeeze? Why is it happening?
Well, there's also the industry-wide price drop.
Right.
That happened late last year in 2023, and that impacted the entire sector. So they're not alone in facing that.
Okay.
But another thing is they made a decision to ramp up their advertising and promotion spending.
Okay, so they're putting themselves out there.
Oh yeah.
More, I mean, I've seen some of their stuff.
Yeah, they're not shying away.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, although proportionally it's still lower than it was in some previous periods.
Okay, so they're being strategic about it.
Yeah, but it's definitely a focus for them.
Okay, so playing the long game.
Yeah.
Investing now. For a bigger payoff later. But can they afford it? I mean, is this a gamble? Or do they have the financial strength to pull this off?
Well, I think, one of the key indicators we look at is their gross margin percentage.
Okay, yeah.
And they've got the highest in the industry.
Really?
Yeah. 44.1% for Q2 and 45.6% for the first half of the year.
Wow.
So that's a sign of health, even with all these investments, even with the price pressures.
Yeah.
They're managing to maintain a really healthy margin.
So they're efficient.
Yes.
That's good.
Very efficient, yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Gives me some confidence. Now this Indigo Paints 2.0 strategy, this sounds like they're thinking big beyond just paint. Right?
Oh yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach
Okay.
to really propel future growth.
Okay.
They're not just sticking to their brushes, they're venturing out into new territories.
I like that.
So one key element is product innovation.
Okay.
They're going beyond traditional paints. We're talking, things like construction chemicals, waterproofing.
It's diversifying.
Diversifying that portfolio, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. Spread the risk a little bit, capitalize on new opportunities.
And they're not just dipping their toes in the water, they're really going for it. You know, the acquisition of Apple TV, that was a big move.
Yeah, we got to dig into that later.
Oh yeah,
because that's a whole other thing.
It is, yeah.
But besides that, what else is on this roadmap for growth?
So geographic expansion is another big one.
Why?
They're looking at those tier 1 and 2 cities, which represents a huge growth opportunity.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're not neglecting their strong presence in tier 3 and 4 markets.
So they're covering all their bases.
Exactly.
Reaching everybody.
Wider customer base.
But can they keep up? I mean, with all this expansion, can their infrastructure handle it?
Well, capacity augmentation is top of mind for them.
Okay.
They're investing in new plants, like the one in Jodhpur, expanding existing ones in Kochi and Pudukkottai.
Okay, so they're ready. They're getting ready.
They're anticipating that increased demand, yeah.
Okay, good. Building that foundation.
Right.
But paint is competitive, right? You need more than just factories and stuff. How are they going to stand out? How are they going to, get customers excited?
Well, that's where their brand and marketing focus comes in.
Okay, yeah.
They're really punching above their weight in advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, they're spending almost double the industry average.
Wow.
So they're not just slapping on a coat of paint, they're really crafting that brand image.
Yeah, they're making a statement.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so they're not afraid to be bold.
No, not at all.
I like it. So this 2.0 strategy,
Yeah.
it's comprehensive.
Yeah.
It's ambitious. Now let's get back to this Apple Chemie thing.
Okay.
Because that's a big deal. What's the story there? How does this fit into, their grand plan?
Well, it's a significant step in their expansion into construction chemicals and waterproofing.
Okay.
They're taking a two-pronged approach. So they're leveraging their brand recognition, right, to launch their own Indigo branded products like the Protect Plus series, and those are targeting the retail market.
Right.
But at the same time, Apple Chemie, they're going to continue focusing on that B2B segment.
Okay, so they're covering both sides of the market.
Exactly, yeah.
That's clever. But was this a risky move? What kind of company is Apple Chemie?
Well, they're actually a very interesting company. They're the first construction chemical manufacturer in India to receive NABL accreditation.
Okay.
So that's a really big deal. It speaks to their quality and their credibility.
So they didn't just buy anybody. They bought a good company.
Yeah, a reputable company.
Okay, that's good to know. So how have they been doing since the acquisition? I mean, are they performing well?
Well, they have seen really robust revenue growth in the first half of the fiscal year, but their margins, they were a little squeezed due to the product mix.
Okay, so some growing pains?
Yeah, but they are expecting to see improvements in that margin profile.
Okay, all right. So a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, but overall positive. So I'm always interested in how companies balance, making money, which is obviously important. Of course. Yeah.
With doing good, with sustainability.
Yeah.
Are they just all about the profits, or are they trying to make a positive impact as well?
Well, they're definitely not just about profits. They're really committed to sustainability.
Okay.
And making a positive impact. For example, they're moving towards renewable energy.
Okay, I had heard about that.
Yeah, they've installed 100 kilowatts of solar capacity at their Pudukkottai factory. Mm-hmm.
And they're adding a whopping 330 kilowatt capacity at their Kochi facility? Okay, so that's a serious investment in clean energy.
It is. Well,
what else are they doing besides, just the environmental footprint?
Well, they've got some really impressive community initiatives as well.
Okay.
Like one of them actually involves painters.
Oh, interesting.
In painting government schools in tier 2 towns.
Okay.
So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah.
They're giving back to the community and they're empowering those painters who are the backbone of their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a really clever way to make a tangible difference.
It's smart.
Yeah.
It's not just throwing money at a problem. It's actually thinking about it.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that. Any other examples of this kind of community engagement?
Yeah, they're also providing education assistance and career guidance to underprivileged girls through a partnership with the Payal Jalen Trust.
Right.
It's called the Educare Initiative.
Okay.
And they're supporting healthcare initiatives for the underprivileged near their Kochi factory.
Wow. So they're really thinking about the whole picture.
They are, yeah.
Okay. So it's not just about the bottom line.
No.
It's about doing good.
It's a holistic approach.
Okay, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. But let's be real for a second. Profits do matter. Investors want to know
Oh, absolutely.
if Indigo Paints is on track for success. You know, what's their outlook for the rest of FY25?
Well, despite some challenges, the price drop, the slowdown in demand,
Right.
they are still quite optimistic.
Right.
They anticipate continued growth, outpacing the industry, and they're even projecting an improvement in demand starting in Q3.
Okay, so after a little bit of a dip, they think things are going to pick up again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's good news. That's good news. But can they actually improve their profitability, while doing all this, while growing so aggressively?
Well, their projections show a slight increase in their EBITDA margin for the full fiscal year.
Okay.
So that suggests they're pretty confident about
Okay.
the ability to manage costs and improve that profitability over time.
So they're not just going to keep spending.
No, it's strategic.
And they're also really focused on Apple Chimie and making sure that acquisition actually works out.
Yeah, improving those margins in the second half of the year, that's going to be key.
Right. Now, there was one little detail in the press release that I thought was interesting. They talked about their consolidated growth of 7.4% happening in a muted demand scenario.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
What does that even mean?
Well, I think they're acknowledging that the market's tough,
Okay.
but they're still doing well.
Right.
So it's a testament to their resilience, their adaptability.
So they're not just riding the wave.
No.
They're actually creating their own momentum.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I like that. And it's worth pointing out, they still managed to keep a pretty healthy gross margin
Mm-hmm.
of 43.7% in Q2.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not just sacrificing profitability.
No, they're finding that balance.
They're doing both.
Exactly.
Okay, that's impressive. Now, before we get into, all the really detailed numbers, the key performance indicators,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for a little break.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in a moment.
All right. Okay, so you ready to dive into some of those key performance indicators?
Yeah. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the numbers.
All right, so one thing they really highlight in their investor presentation is this consistent outperformance of the industry growth.
Yeah.
Like for 6 quarters in a row.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they've actually got a nice little chart that shows it visually, and you can really see that upward trajectory.
It's one thing to hear the numbers, but when you see it visually, it really hits home.
Absolutely, yeah. And then if you look at their actual revenue numbers over the past few years, I mean, it's been remarkable.
Okay, give me the highlights.
So in FY20, they were at 624.8 crores.
Okay.
And they're projected to hit 1,306.1 crores in FY24.
So more than double.
More than double, yeah.
In just a few years.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
That's huge. And what about the profitability though? I mean, are they actually making money?
Yeah, so both their PAT and their EBITDA, they've also seen significant increases over that same period. So it's not just, top line growth. They're becoming more profitable as they scale.
That's good, right? Because I mean, some companies grow, but they're not actually making any money.
Exactly.
It's good to see that they're doing both.
Yeah, it shows that it's sustainable growth.
Right. But we talked about that dip in profitability recently.
Mm-hmm.
How does that fit into this whole picture?
Yeah, it's all about context, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while that recent passé contraction is definitely something to note.
Right.
You got to remember, they're making these big investments.
Right, the plant, the advertising, the Apple Chimie thing.
All of that. And those are designed to fuel future growth.
So it's kind of like a short-term hit for a long-term gain.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
But how do we know they're making smart investments? What should we be looking at to kind of gauge their efficiency?
Well, one of the things I look at is that gross margin percentage.
Right. We talked about that.
Yeah, and they've consistently had the highest gross margin in the industry.
Which is impressive.
It is, especially when you consider they're expanding, they're making acquisitions, and they're still managing to do that.
So they're running a tight ship.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's good to see. So let's talk about the products themselves. I mean, they've got a whole range of different paint products. What can we see from kind of breaking down their product categories?
Yeah, so if you look at their product category snapshot for Q2,
Okay.
all their categories saw growth.
Okay.
But the ones that really stood out were the primers, the distempers, and some of those other miscellaneous products. They saw the highest value growth, 13.7% year on year.
So they're not just relying on one type of paint. They're really kind of
They're diversifying.
diversifying, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And capitalizing on different trends in the market.
Yeah, they're really attuned to what customers are looking for.
And in terms of reaching those customers, how are they doing in terms of their dealer network, their depots?
Yeah, so their active dealer count has been steadily increasing.
Okay.
They reached 18,718 in Q2.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty extensive network.
And they've got those tinting machines, right?
Yes, over 10,555 tinting machines deployed.
Which is cool because that gives customers that customization option.
Absolutely, yeah.
They can get the exact color they want.
Yeah, it's all about that customer experience.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're clearly expanding, they're growing. They're ready for more.
Yeah, they're ramping up that manufacturing capacity both for liquid-based and powder-based paints.
Okay, so they're thinking ahead. They're not just waiting to see what happens. They're making moves.
Exactly. Yeah.
But all of this takes money, right?
It does. Yeah.
So let's talk about their brand and marketing efforts.
Okay.
Are they actually putting their money where their mouth is?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like we said before, their advertising and promotional spend as a percentage of revenue.
Yeah.
It's almost double the industry average.
They're making themselves known.
They are, yeah.
But are they doing it effectively? I mean, are they reaching the right people?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're using a really good mix of traditional and digital channels.
Okay, so they're covering all their bases.
Yeah, they're on TV, they're doing social media ads, they're even using influencer marketing.
So they're not just stuck in the old ways. They're adapting to how people are consuming media now.
Exactly. Yeah, they're staying ahead of the curve.
Okay, good. Now, let's go back to Apple Chemie for a second.
Okay.
You mentioned that they're facing some margin pressure because of the product mix.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. So Apple Chemie, they operate in a slightly different market segment than Indigo's, core paint business.
Right.
And their product mix includes a higher proportion of lower margin products,
Okay.
which is, put a little bit of pressure on those overall margins.
So it's a balancing act.
It is, yeah.
They're gaining market share. They're expanding their product portfolio. But they got to be careful.
Right.
With the margins.
Yeah, they have to manage that carefully.
So how are they planning to do that?
Well, they've got a few strategies
Okay.
for the second half of the year.
Yeah.
They're talking about optimizing their product mix.
Okay, so maybe shifting towards higher margin products.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay.
And then also looking at, operational efficiency.
Right.
Ways to reduce costs.
All right. So they've got a plan.
Yeah.
They're thinking about it.
They are, yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Let's talk a little bit more about their sustainability initiatives.
Okay.
We touched on the renewable energy, the community programs, but let's get into some more details. What's the real impact of these initiatives?
Well, I think it shows that they're really walking the walk when it comes to sustainability. Like you said, that transition to solar energy, that's going to significantly reduce their reliance on fossil fuels.
Right.
Lower their carbon emissions.
It's a real commitment.
It is, yeah.
To environmental responsibility. And what about the community programs?
Well, they're not just writing checks.
All right.
They're really getting involved. Like that program with the painters painting the schools.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great example.
Oh, yeah, it's creative.
It is, yeah.
It's actually making a difference.
And it's, providing employment, right?
For those painters.
Yeah, it's a win-win all around.
It is, yeah.
And the the Pale Jalen Trust.
Mhm.
What kind of impact are they seeing there?
Well, they're providing educational opportunities
Okay.
to girls who might not otherwise have them.
Right.
And that's, that's breaking the cycle of poverty.
Yeah.
It's a long-term investment
Yeah.
in human capital
Absolutely.
and social progress.
Okay, and then there's the Can Cure Foundation as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
They're really covering all their bases.
Yeah, they're thinking about the whole community,
Oh.
not just, one aspect.
So they're really committed
They are.
to making a positive impact.
Yeah, it goes beyond just, their business operations.
Okay, so let's look ahead now. What's their outlook for the rest of FY25?
Okay.
Are they set up for continued success?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is. They've built this strong foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but the market is constantly changing.
It is.
So they're gonna have to adapt.
So what do you think is going to be crucial for them to stay ahead of the game?
Well, innovation, definitely.
Yes.
They have to keep coming up with new products, new ideas.
Right.
They've done well with the construction chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
the waterproofing, but they can't just rest on their laurels.
It's like a shark, right? You got to keep moving or you'll sink.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the products themselves, it's about understanding the market
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The trends, the consumer preferences, all of that.
and technology. I mean, that's a big one.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, e-commerce is changing everything.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know who buy paint online?
I know, I do.
Yeah, me too.
It's so convenient.
And it's only going to become more common.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Indigo Paints has got to be ready for that.
They've got to have that seamless online experience.
Right. Now, what about Apple Chemie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're optimistic about it,
Mm-hmm. They are.
but integrating a whole other company
It's a big challenge.
is tough, right?
It is. Yeah. It takes a lot of planning, communication.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's on the same page.
It's like mixing two different colors of paint.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to do it carefully.
Exactly. You don't want them to clash.
Exactly. You want it to be a beautiful new color.
Mm-hmm. A harmonious blend.
But if they can pull it off,
Mm-hmm.
it could be huge for them, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they'll have a much wider reach,
Mm-hmm.
more products, a stronger position in the market.
Yeah, it's a risky move, but it's a potentially very rewarding one.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about sustainability again for a second.
Okay.
We've seen, the solar panels, the community programs,
Mm-hmm.
but can they really make sustainability part of who they are as a company?
Well, that's what they need to do, right?
It can't just be a marketing gimmick.
No, exactly.
It has to be real.
It has to be part of their DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do they show that?
Well, I think transparency is key.
Okay.
They need to be open about their goals, their progress,
Right.
both the good and the
You
bad.
got to walk the walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just talk the talk.
And they need to involve their stakeholders.
Yeah, their employees, their suppliers,
Mm-hmm. Customers,
Yeah.
communities.
everybody.
Yeah, it's a team effort.
It's a big task.
It is, yeah.
But if they can do it,
Mm-hmm.
it could be a real differentiator for them.
Oh, yeah. Consumers are paying attention to this stuff.
They are.
They want to support companies that are doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's not just about feeling good, it's good business.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a win-win all around.
Mhm.
Now, one final thing I want to touch on.
Okay.
And it's about leadership.
All right.
They've got a really good leadership team.
They do, yeah.
But can they maintain that
Mm-hmm.
as the company grows?
That's a really important question.
Because it's one thing to lead a small company,
Mm-hmm.
but when you get big,
It gets more complex.
it's a whole different ball game.
It is, yeah.
So they got to make sure that their leaders have the skills, the experience
Mm-hmm.
to handle that.
Yeah, it's like captaining a ship.
Yeah.
Through rough waters.
You need a good captain
You do.
and a good crew.
Absolutely.
So they gotta make sure they've got the right people in place.
Yeah, and it's not just about the current leaders.
Right.
It's about developing the next generation of leaders.
So succession planning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's key.
It is, yeah. Identifying those talented individuals.
Giving them the opportunities to grow.
Yeah, because otherwise, the company can falter
It can, yeah.
if they don't have the right people. to take over.
Ready to step up.
Exactly, when the time comes.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have, yeah.
With Indigo Paints, we've looked at their past. We've analyzed their present. We've even tried to peer into their future a little bit.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
A colorful one, you can say.
Yeah. I like that.
So what are your takeaways?
Yeah, what have you learned about Indigo Paints?
What surprised you?
Do you think they're on the right track?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners.
What are your thoughts?
What are your perspectives?
Because the world of business is constantly changing.
It is, yeah.
And companies like Indigo Paints are really kind of leading the way. So stay curious, stay informed.
Yeah, stay engaged, because who knows what's going to happen next.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now let's move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
And really explore the future of Indigo Paints. What challenges are they going to face? What opportunities are out there?
Yeah, what's next for them?
Stay tuned.
All right. We've really gone deep, haven't we?
Yeah, we've looked at their financials, their strategy, their commitment to sustainability, their community work.
Yeah, and it's clear they're not afraid to shake things up.
No, they're definitely not afraid to be bold. But now we're kind of at a crossroads.
Yeah, we've seen where they've been, what they're doing now, but the future, well, that's always a bit of a mystery.
Right. So in this last part, we're going to look ahead, try to figure out, what might be coming next for Indigo Paints, what challenges, what opportunities are out there.
Yeah, it's like looking into a crystal ball.
But a crystal ball based on, data and insights.
Exactly, not just magic.
Right. So let's start with the big one. Can they keep up this incredible growth? I mean, they've been outpacing the industry, but is that sustainable?
Yeah, it's a tough question. The Indian paint industry is really competitive.
It's crowded.
It is, yeah. Lots of players, domestic, international, all fighting for that same market share.
So it takes more than just a new color to stand out.
Way more, yeah. I think innovation is going to be key for them. Constantly coming up with new products, things that meet those changing customer needs.
So they can't get complacent.
No, not at all.
Even though they've done well so far.
Right. They've got to keep moving, keep innovating.
Because the market's not standing still either, right?
No, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Think about urbanization, infrastructure, design trends. All of that impacts the paint industry.
Right. And what about technology? I mean, I feel like that's a big factor that a lot of companies are struggling with.
Oh, it's huge. E-commerce, digital marketing, it's transforming everything.
And it's only going to get bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Indigo Paints needs to be ready for that.
If they need to have that strong online presence, that seamless experience for customers.
So whether I'm shopping online or walking into a store.
To be easy, convenient.
Yeah. Now what about this Apple Chemie acquisition? I mean, they've said they're optimistic about it. But integrating another company is never easy.
It's a huge undertaking.
It's like trying to fit two puzzle pieces together that weren't really meant to go together.
Yeah, you gotta find a way to make it work.
And it takes time.
It does, yeah.
And planning and good communication.
Yeah, and it's not just about the operations, it's about the people too.
Yeah, the culture.
The culture, making sure everyone's on board.
It's like mixing two different teams together.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta make sure they can work together.
Find that synergy.
Yeah. But if they can do it, it could be really big for them.
It could expand their market, their products, their position in the industry.
It's a risk.
Oh, definitely.
But the reward could be huge.
It could be, yeah. It's exciting to see what happens.
Yeah. So let's circle back to sustainability for a minute.
Okay.
They're doing some good things, the solar panels, the community work. But
can they really make it part of everything they do?
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? It can't just be a separate thing. It has to be woven into the fabric of the company.
It's got to be in their DNA.
Exactly, yeah.
So how do they do that?
Well, I think transparency is a big part of it.
Okay.
Being open about their goals, their progress, the challenges they face.
So being honest.
Yeah, even when it's tough.
Yeah. And not just talking about it, but actually doing it.
Walking the walk, yeah.
Yeah.
And involving everyone, employees, suppliers, customers, the community. It's a big job.
It is, yeah.
But if they can pull it off,
Mm-hmm.
it'll really make them stand out.
It will, yeah.
I mean, consumers are more and more aware of this stuff.
They are,
They
yeah.
want to support companies that are doing the right thing.
And it's not just about, feeling good. It's good for the bottom line, too.
It is. It is. Now, one last thing I want to touch on, that's leadership.
Okay.
Indigo Paints has had some really strong leaders.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
as they grow, as they change, can they maintain that strong leadership?
It's a crucial question.
Because it's not easy to lead a big company.
No, it's a different skill set.
Yeah, it's a different ball game.
You need a different kind of vision, a different approach.
Yeah, so they got to make sure they've got the right people at the helm.
The right people with the right experience, the right skills.
And not just the people who are there now, but the future leaders too.
Succession planning. Yeah, that's key.
Making sure there's someone ready to step up when the time comes.
Yeah, to keep that momentum going.
Well, I think we've really covered a lot of ground here with Indigo Paints.
We have, yeah. It's been a really interesting deep dive.
It has. It has. We've explored their past, their present, and even taken a peek into their future.
And I think they've got a really bright future ahead of them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hmm.
But what do you think? What are your takeaways?
Yeah, what surprised you?
What are you thinking about Indigo Paints?
Let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of business.
Until then, happy painting.